Hey, this is Seth with InDemandCareer.com, and in this video, I'm going to answer the question, how do I get a remote job in digital marketing? You know, the kind of the dreams situation where you don't actually have to go into an office. Now, this is completely possible, but it's a little bit like asking me, hey, Seth, how do I make $100,000 in a digital marketing job? Absolutely possible, but you're not going to get paid six figures on your first day. It is something you typically work up to, and that is the case with a remote job. Now, I have had students get remote jobs right away. I had even, Kudzai, remember he got 19 years old, he got a remote position, and that was awesome. But that is not the most common job. So that's why I want to set you up for success. I don't want you coming out of the course thinking, I'm going to work from the beach making $70,000 a year on my first digital marketing job. You have to set the appropriate expectations. So, first of all, remote digital marketing jobs do exist, but they are a smaller percentage. And you can go to websites like People Per Hour. We work remotely. And even on Indeed and Craigslist, you'll see positions listed that are remote because some digital agencies are set up in such a way where all of the technicians do work remotely. However, I want you to understand that out of the excitement of this field and the 60,000 jobs that are available every day, most of those are in-house. And I want to help you understand this so that it makes sense to you when you're looking for remote work. Most people don't understand what an employer has to deal with when they hire somebody. And I want you to understand this. You're going to be such a more valuable worker, person, if you understand this. It's a lot like dating. I think it's like if you go on a date and you're only thinking about me, you're going to have a bad date. You have to have an appreciation and interest and, concern for the other person. Most people applying for jobs are just like, I want a job, give me money, and that's where they're coming from. The reason my students have success is because I teach them to think about bringing value. So remember that an employer isn't just, jobs are created. They don't just come from, the earth like a tree. And part of running a company and scaling up a business involves hiring people. There's an incredible financial burden on a company when they hire somebody. They don't just pay your salary, which is already a lot. They also pay your health benefits and half of your taxes. Most people don't even realize that your employer is paying half of your taxes in FICA. So to hire a person at like $50,000 a year, it really costs them like $80,000 or something like that. Or to hire someone at 70, it's like $110,000. It's a lot more money than you realize. So they're making a huge investment in you when they hire you. So part of that, and the reason why they have offices, is they want you to be on the team. They want to see that you're coming into work every day. And, it's part of the 9-to-5 paradigm, but put yourself in their shoes. What if you just spend a ton of money on an employee and and it's their first job or their second job? Aren't you going to want to see them every day or have somebody see them every day? Are you just going to trust, hey, listen to me, go have fun and try to get your work done? No, you're going to want to make sure they're being productive because you just made this huge investment. Now, remote positions, obviously they come with a lot of perks, which is you have more freedom. But in order to earn that, you really have to demonstrate your value. I was 3 years into this field making about 80,000. It was a weird thing. I was making over 100,000. Then I switched to this other company. I was making 80, and I got my first job offer for 75,000 remote. And it was a really good agency, very high quality, and they had a lot of systems in place to monitor your work because they want to make sure you're obviously doing the work. You can't just screw off for $75,000 a year. But I had earned my way into that position by having a really great resume. When people come out of my course, they get great entry-level jobs that they can then leverage up. But you're not going to get paid like $70,000 a year remote off the bat. It's a huge, and I want you to understand this from fully. Like most employees and people who are workers don't understand the full picture of what their employers are dealing with. They're just thinking, oh, I want my salary, I want my benefits, I want my bonus. They don't care about the company's performance or any of those things or what it takes. If you have that understanding and that awareness and that appreciation, you're going to be a much better interview, and I think you're going to have a better chance of landing one of these jobs. So I just want you to have that in mind. when you're asking that question. So I say, get the agency job first. Or the other way to get a remote job is through freelancing. Freelancing is amazing. That is how Karen was making $52,000 a year part-time. She did a small gig for an insurance company, and they liked her so much they decided to give her more and more work. And that is how it really, if you want a remote job, that is how you should be thinking, is starting with freelance. Because freelancing is like dating, and getting a remote salary position is like getting married. You understand? I explained to you how much of a risk and investment an employer is taking when they hire you financially, in terms of, again, unemployment, taxes, all these things. But freelancing is just like dating. You can have a short-term gig with an employer or with a company, short-term, see how things go, spend a couple months working together, and then if things go really well, maybe they'll give you a lot more work. But it's much kinder and slower and more realistic in the beginning. And that's what I encourage my students to do, is that if you really build good relationships with your freelance clients, you can have them forever. And it's almost like having a job, but there's more freedom and nobody's locked in or paying to invest in, taxes or things like that for you. And then once you get that freelance and all that experience, that makes you more compelling for these remote jobs. Now, as I said again, it is possible. First job, remote position, it's just not those 60,000 jobs I'm telling you about. It's a much smaller percentage. So as far as expectations go, what this means is you should have like a remote job if you really want it. Put it on your list of intentions, but don't be like freaking out if you're not getting a remote job within a few months. And all you're getting is, you'll probably be getting offers for in-house jobs. Say, I'm gonna take the in-house job, I'm gonna build the experience, and I'm gonna level up to the remote job, or I'm gonna freelance. But in any case, if you want to look at those higher salaries, again, that's something people work their way into. So I'm responding to a YouTube comment. I know a lot of people ask this question. It's absolutely possible to have a remote lifestyle. You just have to understand how it all works. So if you have any more questions or comments, please leave them below this video, and I will see you in the next one.